Welcome to Directly to You. It's the 138th episode of Directly to You. It's our podcast. We're fanatixfour. I'm AJ of fanatixfour, joined by Parker, also of fanatixfour. How you doing, Parker?
I'm doing great.
You can support this channel by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour, twitch.tv/fanatixfour, and giving us $4.99. Or if you're on Twitch, giving us your Prime Gaming subscription, which you can get by linking your Twitch to your Amazon account. And you get it for free, man. Jeff Bezos is like, dude, don't worry about that $4.99. I got way too much money. Here's some of it for you. And for that subscription, regardless of what option you take to get it, because also YouTube, if you're YouTube Red or Premium or whatever, originals, whatever you joined at the time when it was called, sometimes they give you, some people, they give a free YouTube membership subscription. And it's like monthly, but it doesn't happen for everybody, which is weird. Like I never saw it, not a single time. Maybe if you have content, they're like, nah, we're not giving this to you. Makes sense. But yeah, some people have that, so maybe you can redeem it for that. But anyway, you get loyalty badges, you get emotes, you get free time, free gaming time with us, you get free Switches from time to time. It's good old fun time. You get access to our sports only Discord, and you can join our Discord regardless if you're a supporter or not by clicking the link in the description. It's a good old fun time, and people will say hi to you, and sometimes I'll get hurt and change my name to truly hurt.
It's true. And also, I mentioned this at the beginning of the audio podcast last time, but if you listen on the audio podcast, just drop down to our youtube.com/directlyu and hit the subscribe button if you could, just so that we can grow that channel just a little bit. That'll be super helpful.
Also, if you watch on YouTube, but you have a phone or iPod or you got podcast services on there, just, drop a follow and or subscription on that and maybe give us a review.
Yeah, all the things.
Those are helpful too on those respective platforms.
Yep.
That should probably be part of our regular housekeeping. But it's
probably, but whatever.
But anyway, what games are you playing?
Yeah, man.
Games.
Yeah, I'm playing some games. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I just started Final Fantasy 12 like 2 days ago. And I realized
I saw some tweets.
Yeah, I figured you did. I realized yesterday, I was like, I should probably tell Max because he got it for, I think, Christmas or something, and I got it for Christmas. And we both were like, yeah, whenever we play it, we'll just play it at the same time and talk about it. But I know how slowly I play games. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and get a head start. So Max, if you're listening to this, I started playing it. Otherwise, I'm going to wait a little bit and let him know because it just takes me forever. But yeah, I started playing that. It's seems very people have likened it to Xenoblade before. I think I've heard people do that. And it seems like it's kind of within that, except for, I think I realized, I said this on here before, but I like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a little bit more than Xenoblade Chronicles 1, partly because of it's kind of higher fantasy a little bit. I don't know, just a little bit more anime.
More nerd.
Yeah, instead of more medieval sort of fantasy.
Oh, never mind. That's also nerd.
I mean, it is, but it's in a more grounded kind of, sort of thing. Not to say Final Fantasy is grounded, but a little bit more. So that said, I'm not so far, I don't care much about the lore and all that stuff. And it's been very cutscene heavy. But I love the fact that there's a speed up function for the battles and stuff, or just running around in general.
Has that always been a thing, or is that specific to the?
I think that's just in the remake or definitive edition or whatever it is. Pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but it's super nice to be able to just I want to fight a bunch of things or grind for a minute, but I don't want it to take a really long time. So you can just kind of run around and do it. And you still have to manage stuff. And it's like Xenoblade in that it's kind of turn-based because you still pick your things as you go to pick a different move. Everything will pause for a second. But then when you select something, it'll go back into action and, takes people amounts of times to do attacks and stuff like that. So all that to say, I'll play more of it, let you guys know what I think as I go. But right now I'm just hoping that there's not as many cutscenes the whole way through, which it sounds like Scootish said it's mostly the beginning and the ends and stuff like that. In the middle is less cutscene heavy, and I'm glad.
Nice.
I played some of that.
I keep forgetting that he wants to be on this show, but he needs to. Yeah. I'll freaking message him. But he needs to do that. He's I'm not doing this feel again. You guys know. Anyways,
Mhm.
I'm playing video games as well on all three
Indeed.
consoles.
Look at that. So many
I'm mostly
games.
playing the same stuff on Nintendo. I'm playing Pokemon and Smash and whatnot.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get Age of Calamity,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up tonight.
probably tomorrow, tonight, or something. Not currently. Usually, I'll download the game like the day of
Mhm.
before we do directly to you and play it and stuff like that. But right now, I don't know because I think the next stream we want to do is I want to play Smash with friends. Practice.
Well, and also we'd already played the demo, or at least I'd already played the demo, so it's not
Yeah.
like we hadn't gotten
I
some
played the demo
impressions on the
on
game.
stream too. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah, there you go.
exactly,
So,
exactly. But I think you could pick, I think it like goes off the progress of the
I think so.
demo.
Yeah, I think carries over. Although I reset my progress anyway because when Mitch was over, or he came over a week or two ago or something, and I reset it for him to get to play the beginning of it, and he was like, "I don't really want to play it right now." I was like, "Oh, well,
Rip.
never mind then." So
Wait, why didn't he just download it on his Switch?
We were trying to decide what activity to partake in, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, well,
gotcha.
it's multiplayer in Age of Calamity," and he was like, "Cool," and I was like, "I don't want you to have to start like in the middle of things and not know, get the intro cutscenes, so I'll just let it start the intro cutscenes." But the first battle isn't multiplayer, so he was like,
Rip.
"I don't really want to do the whole first thing right now. Like, let's do something where we can do it together." And I was like, "Okay." So now I have no save data to carry over, but whatever, I'll just do it again. But yeah, that Age of Calamity. I also, last thing that I played Cake Bash. Provided by Coatsink and Jake and all of them.
We got a package from them. So
oh, nice.
You do that,
go ahead and do that
I'll
now.
open it.
Yeah. Oh, is that for the other game?
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look in here yet. For content.
For content, indeed. But yeah, while you're opening that, I'll talk about Cake Bash a little bit. It's like a party game, sort of along the line, like sort of Mario Party-ish. And you like unlock new mini games as you go and stuff, but you all play as little cakes or like muffins or donuts or eclairs.
There's a box inside the box.
A box in a box. I believe it.
Oh wait, hold on. This is the code for the game. Wait, I think this is a code for. There's a code for Cake Bash.
Oh, nice.
Or a QR code. I want to see if I can share this because we already have this.
We do.
Did
you already download it?
From press contact.
Unless
I'll put this on
Phogs.
Twitter if I can.
Cool. Okay. Good call. If you're listening, AJ is looking into a box.
I am looking into a box. There's envelopes. Something. There's pins. There's a pin.
Nice.
There's a Cake Bash pin.
Cute. Look at that. It's a cupcake and it's cute. You can unlock a unicorn cupcake, and Ashley was very excited to unlock that.
Oh, there's two of these. There's another
nice.
One. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's two of everything? What if they could, like it should have actually just been sent somehow to both of us? Oh, there's two more things.
Then I'm driving up there. No, that's very.
I think there's four of the pins. There's 4 pins.
Oh, that makes sense because it's 4-player and there's online stuff.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, Cake Bash. That it's a good time. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, Ashley and I have played it multiple times. There's
more than 4 pins. Oh no, yeah, there's 4. There's 4.
Some of the games.
5. There's 5 pins, dude.
So that you can have one person feel a little left out because they'll have a pin but not actually get to play. Just rotate them in.
And also, I think there's another. I think they sent another code too. Yeah, there's another code.
Nice. Maybe they sent 4 total.
This is the Phogs box.
Nice.
Inside of the box. I'm trying not to bring the box up too high because it has my address on it still.
Smart.
This box is too compact inside of the box. I don't want to mess it up, dude. Because it has a fog on it.
And the Phogs are cute, you know?
Yeah, they're physics dogs, dude.
They are. That's what they do.
Here's the art of Phogs. Bob's gonna like that. It's like a little art book.
Cute.
It's too flimsy for me to do it like that. It's too small.
Nice
stuff, dude. It's nice.
Yeah,
it
looks good.
It's nice.
I wonder if any of that stuff's available
for plebs.
Yeah, right.
I think this is a shirt.
Plebs like me. Cool, nice. I still wear the Phogs shirt that I got from PAX every once in a while.
Same.
And
did you wear? I think you wore it in a video.
I might have.
Either that or on a podcast.
I definitely wore it on the podcast.
Yo,
at some
I have
point.
so many of these already, but here's a Phogs pin.
Nice. I don't think I grabbed one at any point, so I'll have to pick one up.
I gave you one.
Oh, then I don't know where I put it.
I handed them out to everybody because they handed me a bunch to hand out to everybody. What is this? Can make my own glorb.
What even? Oh, nice. Fun.
And here's let's look here. I wonder what's inside. Oh, this is like this was supposed to be on the top of the box, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Oh, there's freaking candy in here or something.
Dope. It's like Sweetwater all over again. What kind of candy is it?
It's like some type of gummies.
Can you hand me some?
I was going to yeet this at my computer.
I'm glad you did. I wonder at what point we actually it comes out in like just a couple weeks, so I guess
we'll be
playing
it
in
here
somewhat soon.
Oh, this is the glorb that I can decorate with the
cute
stickers. It's not cute. It has nothing on it yet.
It does. I know. I was thinking there was going to be a face or something on the other side, and there wasn't. It was just white.
I gotta add the face. That's what the stickers are for.
Oh, right.
Oh, there's a Phog, dude. There's a Phog.
Whoa! Is it like plushy?
Yes.
Look at him go. Is it stretchy?
Let's see. It's like a. Nah, it's not really stretchy.
I'll allow it. It would be most accurate if it were stretchy. We'll say that much.
I think we're good. I think all the stuff is gone.
All the stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff.
Nice.
Thanks, CodeSync.
Thanks, CodeSync. You did it.
Can't wait to play the game again because we played it at PAX, but I want to play it again because it's a fun game. We're going to stream it with Bob.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll also try to stream Kick Bash at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, long story short, Kick Bash, it's out now. It's a fun time. It's my one non-complaint, but sort of complaint, is that the bots are like quite challenging to play against. In terms of like, for me, as somebody who plays games fairly often, I beat them, most of the time. But some of the games are really hard against them for some reason, and the other ones not as much. But for anybody that like, if it's a good game to be able to introduce somebody into gaming, like, who just doesn't play at all, like a Mario Party is, or that kind of a thing. And in that context, the bots are quite hard. Like, there's some games that there's just no way that Ashley could beat them without practicing a lot. But yeah, all that said, it's fun. I'm looking forward to actually playing a 4-player IRL at some point, but it hasn't happened. So. Twill.
That's true.
And that's it.
I'm also playing Spider-Man and the Game Pass stuff. I'm at the end of Spider-Man. I'm on the last mission of Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's not that long, but that was expected. It's like a glorified DLC game. That said, it's probably my favorite game this year.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man was my favorite game in 2018, and this is that, but
more than Smash? Because that
Smash
was the same
didn't come
year.
out this year.
No, you said 2018.
Or Spider-Man came out in 2019 or something. They came out different years. It was my game of the year that year.
Did it come out 2017? Same year as Breath of the Wild and stuff?
Or maybe it was one of the games that I talked about in 2018 in the OK Beast thing. I just remember talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was also before Smash came out, because Smash was December, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. It was my game of the year until Smash, because
Okay.
Oh no, that's what it was. It was my game of the year because everybody was like, Smash doesn't count because it came out in December. That's
Right.
why. That's what it was. But yeah, it's a dope game. I like Miles more than I like Spider-Man. He's cooler. He has more powers. Plus, he just seems more like a character.
Yeah.
But it's a shorter game because it's like glorified DLC. So for that reason, I think the original Spider-Man game is better. But Miles is a more interesting character to control.
Do they feel like if someone were to pick it up now, the original game plus Miles Morales or whatever, which is there like a pack that just has both of them in there? Or?
Yes, but you had to have a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
And it's $70.
Oh, right. So if someone were to play both of them together, do they feel like two kind of discrete things that are lumped together, or would it feel pretty seamless to go from one into the other?
I'd say they're pretty seamless. They definitely like refer to like there's references to the old game of like the part that I'm not going to go into that. There's like flashbacks to moments before the old game started, and then there's also moments within the like Miles that are directly succeeding what happened in the last game. Like just Miles being Spider-Man in general was something that happened at the end of the last game. And then Spider-Man, Peter was like, yo, man, I'll help you be Spider-Man. And then this game starts with him being like, yo, this is how you be Spider-Man. I gotta go. See ya. You know?
Yeah. What's their... I don't know Spider-Man lore all that much, but like normally are Miles Morales and Peter Parker that are both Spider-Man in the same universe, or is it two different universes?
I think there's like, because Spider-Man is like big on the whole multiverse thing, sometimes not, you know, but like specifically, I think the original universe was like they both coexisted in the same universe. But Miles didn't want to be Spider-Man. He just had the powers. He's like, I don't want to be a superhero, man. That's dangerous. And then Peter died. And then Miles was like, "Oh shoot, okay, I guess I gotta be Spider-Man."
For the 60s.
That's not true. It came out in 2011. Yo, Miles is a new character.
He's that
sad.
New?
It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But it was like in response to the whole thing. You hear about people were like when they were looking for a new Spider-Man, Donald Glover was like, people were like, Donald Glover, let him be Spider-Man, and then that whole thing happened. And then
interesting. I thought it was the other way around. That's interesting.
Yeah, they created Miles Morales in response to that, where it's like now there is a black Spider-Man. Yeah,
that's interesting. Well, cool, nice. I'm glad you like that. It's fun.
It is.
Anything
fun.
else you're playing? I forgot.
Playing Game Pass stuff.
I played about 30 minutes of Smash yesterday, so
nice.
I'm pretty good now. I did beat I played just against some level 9s, and then played the classic mode for Young Link. Young Link, and I lost to a couple level 9s, but I did beat a level 9 Pokemon trainer. So
nice.
Be prepared for me to be really bad. Man, it's
level 9s, like if you're beating level 9s, you're not that bad.
Not consistently, that's for sure. I mean, like most, there were definitely some times where like there were some dumb deaths where it was like, I was really close and I happened to die at like 40% by falling off or whatever.
You got gimped. Level 9s are in Smash Ultimate are pretty good. Like I wouldn't say they're like, for me, I don't struggle against them, but they do stuff that's like, oh shoot, like that's a person thing. Like this man tried to end me at 15%, and he went for it.
There's definitely sometimes too. A fight against Pokemon Trainer was interesting. Where like one time I was doing like side smash as he was switching from Charizard at like 120 to Squirtle at 120, and I was like, yeah, and that was a fun thing for like, you know, because he died a lot. But then likewise, there was some other thing where he switched and suddenly up smashed me with Ivysaur just out of the switch. I was like, no,
messed up. That's a disrespectful move. Up smash is like I was fighting somebody and they were like they tried the Pokemon trainer ditto.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, don't do that. That's like the matchup that I know the most in this game.
Yeah.
And he just kept trying to kill me with up smash. I'm like, don't use that move. That move sucks. It's literally just a flex. It's like,
Yeah.
you're so bad that I can kill you with this move. And it's not happening. You'll never kill me with Ivy Swords up smash.
Man.
And every time he went for up smash, I was like, okay, Flare Blitz, and he died. Like,
it is funny, like playing it. I know how often it chose Lucas one of the times too, and like his up smash also was like just so easily punishable, but I'm just so bad that I can't get to him in time. Oh man, yeah, it's bad. I had a roommate in college that was Lucas was his main, and that's all he did was just wait for opportunities in four player to just up smash a couple people at a time. And like it worked, but it was like it only worked because it was
a lot
4-player,
better.
You know?
For exactly. And the other time to do it is against people that are bad at the game, because when you're on the ground, people, for whatever reason, people that are bad roll in. Instead of rolling away from you, they roll in. So you could just walk up to them and hold up smash until they get up, and then they die because they're going to roll into the up smash.
Yep.
But
good old smash. So there you go. I just want you to know that by the transitive property, I actually beat you.
That's true. That's factual information.
That's all we're playing this week. But now let's get into the news. First of all, the Game Awards were announced. Not who got what awards, but who's nominated for awards and stuff. And we're going to chat about that for a minute. And namely, I don't know, we could take this a couple different angles. I put one in the doc, but we don't have to go any specific one. We're only talking about the Nintendo stuff, by the way, to people, because there's so much stuff in here. But like, who cares?
And there's already a whole bunch of news. There's too much news.
So the only Nintendo published games that were nominated was in Game of the Year, Animal Crossing's New Horizons in there. In Best Multiplayer, Animal Crossing's New Horizons is in there. And in Best Family Games, so Best Nintendo Game pretty much is that category.
I think Among Us is in Best, or Fall Guys, one of those is in.
I think it is. Yeah, I was just kidding about, but yeah, it's definitely.
It's usually Nintendo wins that.
So Best Family Game, which also the definition of what a family game is, I don't know if it means just family friendly or rated E kind of game, or if it means game to play alongside your family, like Mario Party. You're playing out with your family. I would probably lean towards the prior, that it's just a family-friendly game, I guess. But we got Animal Crossing New Horizons, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and Paper Mario the Origami King in Best Family Game.
All bad.
So I guess the main question is, do we feel like there are any, not that, side note to everybody, it's just the games that some people have picked to award some things towards. Your favorite game, for whoever cares, could be Bouncy Bob for the third year in a row or something like that. But as far as the Game Awards are concerned, are there Nintendo games that you feel like should be represented in some of these categories that aren't, or not? That kind of thing. Converse.
I don't even see, the thing about the Game Awards that I don't like about the Game Awards are really most outlets, how they look at Game of the Year and best insert thing in the game, right? They look for a very specific kind of thing. Right, where it's best narrative, that is very specific. It's which one's as close to what movies are like for narratives, that type of crap. For Game of the Year, they're usually what type of game most closely resembles God of War or Breath of the Wild, or Skyrim sort of experience, not necessarily what is the best game for whatever other reason. They look for archetypes.
They set a template, and then they try to find something that meets the template that they have set in mind.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why honestly, it would have been, if in 2017, I mean, personally, I choose Breath of the Wild over Mario Odyssey, but if Mario Odyssey had won over Breath of the Wild, that still it's Mario, and it's, whatever, it's easier for that to fit the archetype than a lot of other things.
That said, I would have been shocked.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah,
because Breath of the Wild very much so is the template, because Mario only fits the template because it's Mario. Right. Mario just transcends that, because he's Mario. But Breath of the Wild is Skyrim, but Nintendo.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, all things considered, I could see maybe what was in the RPG Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I mean, like, they could have put Xenoblade Chronicles in there, but I don't know.
Yeah, they probably were like, it's a remake, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
even
blah,
though
blah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake is obviously a remake too, but
but it's not
different amounts of remake, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like Final Fantasy Remake is like they try to make a new thing out of the fact that it's a remake. It's like the game is like referential of the fact that it's a remake within the game.
Right.
It's like we're remaking the world. Spoilers, like that's it's very stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't personally like looking at it as I thought about all the releases from this past year. I don't know that I feel like there were any Nintendo games that really got snubbed.
Yeah,
that much.
I think that in all these categories, that like the only game that I can think of that Nintendo released this year that is deserving of accolades in this way is Animal Crossing, and it's here, so that's fine. The only thing that will annoy me is if they go by that whole thing of being like, oh, well, The Last of Us, it's pretty and it's a story, so it wins, like where people literally only either talked about that game because they hated it or in response to people that hated it. Meanwhile, Animal Crossing New Horizons took over the world and everybody was in love with the game. Even and I know, like, I followed this whole trajectory from the very onset because the response that I was seeing in like because I tweeted something along these lines, and most people were like, yeah, and then some people were like, but Animal Crossing is New Horizons is just Animal Crossing again. It's like, no, it's not, because if it was just Animal Crossing again, nobody would have played it. Because when I was talking about, everybody loves Animal Crossing, it's a great game, like people like this game for a reason. I can't explain why people like it, but if you play it, you'll get it. Like it's just one of those things. It's like the Wii. It's like you got to play it to understand it. And again, everybody, I don't know. And then you played it, and then you got it.
I mean, the thing too is like, even if it were just it's this such and such again, like Uncharted is kind of just Uncharted again, I mean, I've never played an Uncharted, so I can't speak from experience, but it seems like, a lot of those things.
Every game on here, every game on the list, Doom Eternal, it's Doom again, Final Fantasy VII, it's not Final Fantasy VII again in terms of like they changed the gameplay and all that stuff, but it's the same story, blah, blah, blah. It's very cookie cutter. Every game on the list in that regard is a very cookie cutter. The only difference between like Animal Crossing and all those other games is every other game on this list was a flash in the pan. Like people talked about it for a little bit. The only game that feels like people are still talking about it is Hades, and it's because people just started talking about it. Like it just came to Switch, so everybody was excited, and they're talking. And that's not to say that Hades isn't great. That's not to say The Last of Us isn't great. Blah blah blah. But it's same old stuff. That's not anything that's like exemplary of the year. Like when we go to freaking I Love the 2020s or whatever, right? Like Animal Crossing is going to be literally the only game that will ever get brought up in a conversation like that. Like Animal Crossing transcended communities. It's not just like the gamer's game, it's everybody's game. So to say that a game that's able to do that is not the game of the year is idiotic. Like it's just very stupid. Like, and that, again, we talked about this before in the video about like playing Animal Crossing New Horizons and all that stuff. Like that's not the same thing as like my favorite game of 2020. Because again, like I said, my favorite game currently is Miles Morales, but it's nowhere near as important as Animal Crossing New Horizons. Not even close. And the argument about, well, nobody's playing it, blah, blah, we debunked that too in that video.
Yeah, man, there's still a ton of people playing it. So it's, I don't know. It's crazy. Obviously, the Game Awards canceled Nintendo in the same way that Nintendo canceled the Big House. Yes. So let's talk about that.
This is another this episode, man. This is another thing that makes me so annoyed because it's like people get mad about stuff that like doesn't make any sense to get mad about in the way that they're getting mad about it because their defense is like it's copyright and like they're not infringing it and blah blah fair use blah blah, and it's like, don't use that as a defense if you don't understand what you're talking about. Don't do it because you sound very stupid. Very stupid. People are like, well, I own the game, and they're like, emulation is legal. Is it? You know, like it's legal to emulate a copy of a game that you own, that you ripped off of that copy of the game that you own and are playing that. And even that's even has like nuance to it. It's not even completely legal to play that game. It's strictly for preservation of the copy of the game. So like you still have to like, okay, so say this is a scenario. I buy Mario 64 and I have hardware to rip that ROM onto my computer. That doesn't then make it legal for me to download an emulator and play that ROM on that emulator because you don't legally own the rights to the emulator. You know, so what you have to do and
for
be
some
on the
reason,
up and up.
I thought I feel like something about like the emulators themselves are as long as they're not using any of the source code of the original thing, like the emulators are free or
but that's the
are
thing.
legal in and of themselves. I don't know.
But that's the thing. It's not, because it's like you can't emulate from nothing. They're using a part of the console's software BIOS to emulate the console, and you can yourself rip that. You know, like you can if you know how to do that sort of thing. The people that are making these emulators are using, they're making it legally, right? Because they have to use the console hardware and software to emulate the console's hardware and software, but distributing it and downloading it is not legal. And that's the thing about this, where it's like people are making this about the tournament and Nintendo, and it's the big house's fault. They're making it about the tournament. They're making it like Nintendo shut down our tournament. They didn't shut down the tournament. They said that you can't use Melee in this tournament because how you're using Melee encourages people to illegally download it, because literally nobody, let's be generous and say 10% of the people legally are on the up and up, and they uploaded the BIOS of their console to their PC, and they ripped their own ROM from the Melee disc. Say 10% of the people that are doing that are doing it. That's still hundreds of people that are illegally playing the game. So for Nintendo to allow that, and it's very clear that they know about it, and it's not even about like if they're happy about it, if they're okay with that, blah blah blah, because that's another thing that people make it into, where it's like other companies like Sega are fine with stuff like that, which is also false. It's not about what Nintendo wants. It's about copyright law. It's about the fact that if Nintendo knowingly is like, you guys can get away with it. You're just small little fans. It's cool. The next time, forget
precedent.
Big bad company that wants to steal all Nintendo's IP is like, well, you let the big house get away with it. Why can't we? And then the court's like, you got a point, you know?
And like for anyone listening, like that's having taken some copyright law classes, like that's legit a thing where specifically, if you let something go legally, it becomes precedent to where courts will rule in favor of precedent oftentimes. So then in the future, like, if Nintendo let it slide, then they're just setting themselves up to not be able to crack down on it in a more serious situation or whatever, even if this one wasn't that serious to them and that whole thing.
Yeah. And literally the only defense that they have against that to avoid that is to plead ignorance. You can't plead ignorance when you literally have sponsored this company in the past. You know, like they know about this tournament and they knew about this tournament. So for them to just straight up be like, and it's not even like they went straight to the cease and desist. They went to the big house and said, you can't do that. And they're like, we're going to do it anyway. And then Nintendo's like, okay, then we got to take legal action. Like we have to. And then people are extrapolating it from that and saying, well, it's messed up that you're against Slippy. The problem is not Slippy. It's not the mod. Mods are fine. It's okay to mod software that you own. That is legal. But again, we go back to the fact that to mod this software, you have to emulate it. And most people that are emulating it are using ROMs that they downloaded illegally. Regardless of if you have the game or not, you downloaded it illegally. It's basically like saying, oh, I own this Switch game, so I lost it. I lost this Switch game that I own, but I owned it. I bought it at one time, so I should be able to walk into Walmart and take another copy because I own it. You know, like you're taking another copy. That's somebody else's emulated instance of the game that you're downloading, not your own, which is not legal.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure, all things considered, probably in a couple of weeks, no one's going to care about this anymore. But like,
Oh no, you're very wrong. You're very wrong.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. The only way that people are going to stop caring about this, especially the Melee community, people
Right.
who are like still like die hard for a 20-year-old game, like it's the best game that was ever created, they're going to complain about this until Nintendo's like, it's okay, it's fine. That's the only way that they're going to let it go.
Man.
Is if they get their way.
Yeah. I mean, or what about if, yeah, we're so far away from GameCube games showing up, but like at whatever point GameCube games show up on Switch or something like that, maybe something around that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Would be.
I can see them allowing that. And the thing is, like, Nintendo has sponsored Melee tournaments in the past, but
But they were probably on
from this company
CRTs using
specifically.
actual
Yeah, exactly.
GameCubes.
They're able to police it and say, even if they were going to allow them to use Slippy, Nintendo could very well say, okay, we're going to sponsor a tournament and we're going to supply all the copies of the game for you to be able to emulate and blah, 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 or make sure that you have your own copy and you go through the process to rip the ROM and get the BIOS for the console and emulate it correctly and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, or even, again, use Slippy. You can use Slippy because it's a mod, you know, to an emulator. It's not the emulator itself.
Right.
They could do that. But how are you going to do that with a public tournament with hundreds of people that enter it?
Yeah.
There's invitationals and stuff that they can be like, oh, there's only 32 people that entered this. We can ensure that all of them are on the up and up. But when there's hundreds of people, you can't do that. You know, like it's very people are dumb. Stop arguing copyright law if you don't understand it. I don't want to hear people use fair use as a defense because you don't understand fair use. I guarantee it. People, copyright lawyers do not understand fair use. Like it's not this like set in stone system. The only way that you can use it in defense is if you're already in court.
I mean, the only way you can obviously buy Melee is physically, but Doom Eternal you won't be able to buy physically. That was the worst transition of all time, but here we are. Doom Eternal, hey, it's going to be digital only. Look at that. What a time. It could be one of two things. Either it's digital only and that's it. Or maybe they were like, this is going to be way too hard and they only do a cloud version is a thought that I had.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying before they announced that it was going to be digital only. Got you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like either really when they say digital only, they're not specifying that really they mean a cloud version because it's just like,
gotcha.
It's too hard to make it run the way we want it to, or something. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, just because they said that they were going to make it and stuff. So like, it would be cool.
I think if it's a cloud only version, they would say that.
I mean, I feel like they'll say it eventually, but to soften the blow, this seems like an in between where people will be like, okay,
no,
it's digital only.
The blow. I think that would make it worse.
Yeah.
I can see them doing both, but I definitely think that digital only, specifically that verbiage, means that they're going to do a digital release because
I hope so.
It seems like the biggest issue with games like that is keeping them small. Because like their engine already runs on Switch, and we already know that. But they're trying to make it as efficient and as small as they possibly can. And if you're going to do the whole disc thing, and it's like, well, we're not going to buy a 64 gigabyte disc or pay to manufacture 64 gigabyte cartridges or whatever,
or get an 8 gig one just to have you download 32 gigs of your
to
own.
Have even more backlash from that and stuff like that. We're just going to nip it in the bud and go directly to digital only.
Which honestly, like, I think it seems like there's a bunch of third-party games that is their only issue is just the space constraint. Like I like, GTA 5 or whatever, as just an example, like that is probably, that's a game that easily they could run on Switch for sure. But
easily, because it's on PlayStation 3.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I just mean, they would have to do some kinds of porting and all that kind of stuff, which is, it's not like there's a button to press, but nevertheless,
relatively easily to other developers.
But if it's like a 60 gig game or something like that, and that's as small as they can get it, then that's going to be a problem for them to be able to ship it. But now if Nintendo is okay with these bigger games going digital only, and if the publishers themselves are okay with that, then that kind of solves that problem
And
on
maybe
its own.
that's the solution overall.
So,
like if this still performs well,
yeah,
sales
right.
wise, that
Which,
could
I
open
mean,
the door for more
it
games.
sucks again because this was going to be, you know, an example of a day and date release to be able to see how stuff sells when it's day and date. And even this, it would have sold better on the other consoles anyway, just because I think people that want to play Doom Eternal, a lot of them wanted to see, like, you know, I wanted to look
like
real good and all that kind of stuff.
But also, pure install base is also a thing. Like,
yes, absolutely.
there's also at least 170 million people that can play it the other way, because it's like you gotta figure there's like 150 plus million Xbox One plus PlayStation 4s. Then there's people that have the next gen consoles, and there's people that have gaming PCs. So all that considered, it's a lot of people that that can buy the game versus just the 60 million that are buying the Switch version.
But the fact that this is digital only, definitely I think it was Cool actually mentioned on my YouTube video this week, like, what if they shadow drop Doom Eternal at the Game Awards? And I responded and I was like, I don't know that they would. Actually, wait, I think I pulled that comment. Where is it? Oh yeah, it was Cool who said, so I'll just read this comment now. Great video, guys. I agree with the possible reveal, so I have nothing interesting to add. Edit. Just remember, do you think Doom Eternal would be something they're willing to shadow drop on the night of the Game Awards? If it were a smaller game, I'd say yes, but I guess they'd want to market it pretty strongly. I'm guessing a shadow drop could happen because it's still set for 2020 and it's still not here. I mean, the 2020 release date bit, I feel like, you know, everybody's playing fast and loose with that anyways these days. But as far as the other stuff goes, now that it's digital only, especially in a night where it's like, Doom Eternal is a great game because it's, you know, up for so many awards and stuff. They totally
But it might look weird. It might look weird for them to do that because it's like, it's discounted on all platforms. It's available now on Switch. $60, digital only, worst version. Not worst, but worse relative, because there's potato PCs and
I mean, but that's gonna be the case at some point anyway, you know. So there it is. So interesting stuff. Next news bit. There was a Capcom leak. We're not going to go into it in tons of detail because other people have and all that. But the most interesting part, I think, for us is just that, there's a bunch of potential games, blah, blah, blah. Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2 seem to be also slated to coming to PC. So that's interesting.
How dare they?
So yeah, whatever.
They're supposed to stand in solidarity.
I guess we
can't believe
just
them.
Don't even, you know, support Capcom anymore, and
it's crazy.
they are canceled.
In our time of need, they will do this to us.
But yeah, so that's interesting that those will be coming to that. But like, hopefully there will be some like cross-play, cross-progression, and those kinds of things, because that would be good. I think people have found that PC and Switch is a nice like switching off between the powerful thing and the handheld thing to be able to, like, if you can move your saves back and forth, that would be dope. So I don't know.
Wow, that seems cheap. That seems super cheap. I'm looking at the last thing. Not the Stadia. The Stadia part, that seems feasible.
Super cheap.
But Sony paid them $5 million for Resident Evil 7 and DLC, VR and DLC and demo to be exclusive.
Yeah.
Seems cheap. I would have thought it would have been more than that.
I feel like Sony probably has a decent amount of pull with Capcom.
Yeah, true.
So like, they probably didn't need to do much to twist their arms. I mean, and it's also like how many places have the
$5 million
anyway.
True.
Well, I think. I mean, there's like Oculus and stuff, but the install base is so small that, like, I think as far as return on investment, you know, it's not the same as competing with, like, you could get all this Switch or all this PC or all this whatever.
But then again, no, because like, I mean, PlayStation VR is the
Labo VR. That's the other thing you're thinking of. I'm just kidding.
No, of course not. But just the fact that like PSVR is still like at like what 4 million units or something. Yeah. Even that, you know, it's not even like the difference that they would be able to make if everybody bought Resident Evil 7 VR on PlayStation versus if everybody bought on all other platforms. I don't know if 5 million is enough to make up for that difference.
Apparently, the other platforms though are like significantly, like even Oculus or whatever, which like his PSVR is the biggest of the VR platforms.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. Yeah, it seems to me like because the overall competition is so small that like 5 million is, I mean, that's a lot of money, but in this context, yeah, that's obviously not.
Yeah, it just seems like something that, like, you know how Netflix, when they pay like comedians and stuff like that, the figure that they come up with is generally the amount of money that they can buy them out for that allotment of time. They're like, this is how much money we project you to make in this period of time plus a little extra. I don't know if $5 million accounts for that, you know, but it could very much so be like
to me for a VR game. I think so, but yeah, I don't know. And then the last bit, Animal Crossing has the winter update coming up, which is cool and all. But the main thing is you can finally sit down with your reactions now.
Nice, dude.
Ashley was so excited about that. And I was so so that's it. That's the only thing I wanted to talk about from it.
Oh my God. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yep. I mean, you can also transfer save
anymore,
data.
Dude. I don't care.
Oh, man.
No, that's 83,000 people. There's no way. Yo, they need to freaking, I'd be asking for more money. That's crazy. Anyway, continue. I had to do the math real quick.
for what? However many people are
for the
on.
amount of people that they need to make $5 million.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Again, I think because it's Sony, there's just
it could just be like
they're just like
dude.
Sure, whatever.
We'll give you the homie discount.
But yeah, that's it from news. Now we'll move on to comments from our videos. First up, the video you made. Do you have any overall thoughts before we get into the comments?
Nah, dude. I guess I'm making that other video.
I guess so. Yeah. Did it hit? It was like last time I looked, it was like 246.
It's like the last time I looked, it was over 250. I don't know how much more over 250 it is, but
I'm gonna check right now, and we're gonna find out.
Nice.
It's at 255.
Nice.
There it is. Making the other video. Are you gonna do that this next week? You think?
Possibly. Depends on if something more pertinent comes up.
True.
But if not this next week, the week after that, and I might do like Monolith Saw specifically, I might just do a video about just them, you know, and then like a video about just Platinum, because like that's how big of studios they are, and they could be working on a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, right. Indeed. Well, cool. Well, let's get into these comments. Devil Luke said, I feel Nintendo needs a digital space world, but what can they show more third party? No, only first party stuff. If there's any new third party stuff, save it for 2021. So is he saying space world in 2020?
I guess so, but it's too late for that.
It is too late for that. But nevertheless, you know, yeah, I think that's and then here's the contents that he thinks should be in there. Number 1, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury. It's a 1-to-1 port, nothing big. Well, it's not. Yeah, because the Bowser Fury stuff is definitely new bits. So we don't know how big the new bits are, but it's something.
We just know for sure it's not a 1-to-1 port. Because even without Bowser's Fury, it still has online multiplayer. It still runs faster than the other game and so on and so on, blah, blah, blah. It's not a 1-to-1 port.
Number 2, Mario Kart 9. It's been 3 years since the devs from ARMS finished that game and 6 years since Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I think... I mean, definitely we're not going to see anything about Mario Kart 9 super soon, I would think, just because Mario Kart Live. And also, I still think they're just going to bide their time for a while because Mario Kart 8 is still selling so well. So, like,
I could see Mario Kart 9 just being straight up done and then being like, when sales momentum slows down on Deluxe, we'll announce it. It doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, though.
Yeah. Number 3, Legend of Zelda Breath of Darkness. Show more gameplay and a date. This game is 98% done.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
So, I mean, yeah, I would love more gameplay and a date. Well, I'd love any gameplay and a date. I definitely don't think the game is just 98% done. I mean, it
I
could
don't
be,
even know what 98% done means.
but here's the thing that I was thinking this week. No matter what the sequel is called, it's gonna be weird to hear anything else. You know what I mean? Where like whether
anything other than Breath of the Wild 2?
yeah. I mean, or just Breath of the Wild. Like in my mind, that's just yeah. I don't know if they try to go with the naming. I think they need to go far from the naming convention for me to be able to not just call it Breath of the Wild again, because otherwise
that's what they'll call it, Breath of the Wild again.
Breath of the Very Wild, Breath of the Wilderness. Number 4, new 2D Metroid and also show Metroid Prime Trilogy HD for 2021 gives us an update. Metroid Prime 4, it's been years. It has been years. So yeah. Kirby Air Ride 2, show gameplay and a date in spring 2021. New WarioWare Winter 2021.
Why would WarioWare be winter? And why would they show it now?
This is true. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we shouldn't expect any new Nintendo published games before, within the next couple of months or so. I mean, anything's possible.
I can see it. I mean, we know that we're getting 3D World.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's outside of that. I should have specified, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Number 7, Animal Crossing New Horizons updates. Yep. Number 8, Monolith Soft next IP. That's true.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe it got canned, but forever ago, they had concept art for the new IP.
Yeah.
That, I mean, or maybe it's a new IP. We don't know.
I just 100%. Don't know if all this would be announced in one event.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Splatoon Tactics, summer 2021.
There's no way.
I mean,
yeah, I can see Bayonetta.
That would be a fun spin-off, though.
Yeah, but I just
like a Mario plus Rabbids kind of thing, but Splatoon.
But
and lastly, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC, Geno. And then
that's also not happening. But I can see DLC, but I can't see Geno.
And then says save next 3D Mario game, Zelda Collection, next Pokemon remake, Camelot, next game, group number 4, Nintendo Co. Next project, Intelligent Systems, next project for later 2021. I mean, all of these things, like all these ideas are things that I could see a lot of them happening eventually. But
I can't see all of them happening is the problem.
No. I guess most of them, like, no, at one event, that's the thing. Yeah. It's one of those kind of pipe dream.
It's like the quote unquote leaked. Yeah, exactly. Leaked Nintendo Direct E3 event.
Which, I mean, that's the problem is like if we said, because for example, I made my video on the predictions for the Game Awards this year. I didn't specify it in here. I don't think all of those things are getting shown. It's just impossible. Here's all of the separate options that like could piece together to be something, or it could be completely different things. Who knows? But I think that is the thing. Like, whereas when we make these videos, we're saying all these things. I mean, yours were more saying like within all of 2021, we could see all of these things happen realistically. But all in one event, no. All within a short, like half year time span, no.
Yeah, and there's even video. I mean, there's even like games and stuff that I was like, we might see this, but it's not going to get like released next year or that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, but thanks for the comment, Devil Luke. Lots of fun. Google said, all I want is a new mainline 3D game. You're going to get one. A new mainline 3D
Can confirm
game.
That's definitely going to happen, dude.
A new mainline 3D Mario game. Kind of unlikely since we're getting 3D World, but I'd love to see it. But I'd love to at least see an announcement. I don't know if an Odyssey 2 is possible since Odyssey itself was a massive game, but here's to hoping they make a sequel because I think Cappy made things a lot more interesting. I still think Odyssey 2, to me, feels the most likely as far as next mainline Mario game. I think there's just so many directions they could still go with that, as far as like the sandbox stuff. Probably at this point, they would add, in the same way the Galaxy 2 added Yoshi, they'd probably add, some new mechanic within it that does some extra thing. But yeah, I mean, I think Odyssey 2 is still my pick for what we see next from mainline Mario.
From the Mario team.
Yep. And I mean, hopefully if they, can kind of work with, because they wouldn't probably reuse specific assets, but physics and all that kind of stuff, like all of that stuff is already figured out. So that should help make it less hard. Let's make a new one. Wanted Asylum says, I honestly feel like another Wario Land and the first real 3D Kirby game could be a high risk, but even higher reward. Considering that's what most Nintendo fans want, excluding myself since I'm not a fat and smelly millennial, want out of Nintendo, even though that would have been impossible this year otherwise. We are fat and smelly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Crazy.
What do you think?
I zoned out after he said the fat and smelly millennial.
Well, I'll allow it. Yeah, I think I totally agree as far as the high risk, high reward kind of thing. I think there's a lot of things like that like Nintendo has done several high risk, high reward things like Breath of the Wild, and Odyssey wasn't really because it wasn't that risky. It was just rewarding. But
I think that it's more risky to continue to do the same thing over and over again for a series that just reaches the bare minimum all the time than it is to change it up.
Yeah.
Hence them changing up Zelda. Like Zelda did fine, but it never really excelled outside of very specific instances like Ocarina of Time, and that's probably really it. But they wanted it to excel because it has a lot of cachet and a lot of people know Zelda and Boy Zelda and so on. Kirby's in a very similar situation where it's like everybody knows Kirby, but nobody really cares about Kirby. Like the people that like freaking pick Kirby and Smash Brothers are not buying every single Kirby game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's a lot of things. There's AJ, you and I were talking about a video series that maybe we'll eventually make that would sort of talk about this. But yeah, like taking some of these ideas, figuring out like what's at the core of each of these franchises and how can we actually make it appeal to a large group of people. And like some of these things, maybe you don't, if it's doing great, maybe you don't have to reinvent the wheel and you can just, keep doing what you're doing. Like I don't know that I would say Mario Kart 8 reinvented the wheel. They added some new mechanics for sure that were good, but like they kept with what they're doing, but it's what everybody wants. So like, even though there's other things I'd like them to do, they don't need to do them to succeed, but there are other ones that they definitely need to, otherwise they could easily fall off and just, not exist.
Cause it's all about like the zeitgeist, right? Where it's like, Pokemon, for instance, right? Pokemon's something that they very much so need to change in one way or another because the reputation around it is declining. Yeah. They don't need to do it as quickly and as drastically, but they clearly know that they need to change. Yeah. Or like quickly as drastically as people think that they do or want them to. But they know they need to change because they're doing it, and they have been doing it for the past couple of iterations of the series. But stuff like Mario Kart, they don't have to do that. Nobody really complains about Mario Kart. It's like, oh, it's a new Mario Kart, dope, I'll buy it. Oh, it's a new Mario Kart that was also on Wii U, a console that nobody owned, I'll buy it.
I mean, like Smash, same kind of thing where it's like it's refined, but it's not like upheaved or whatever,
right. The only people that get mad about Smash are Melee fans.
That's true. Last comment from Retro Hero 276, and God bless you for this one. Golden Sun is coming back in 2021. Come back to me later. I'm not a leaker.
I wanted to immortalize this. That's the only reason why I pulled this
I out. Very much appreciate that. Yep. I saw this comment and I was like, I didn't comment on it, but I was going to, saying, if this happens, I'll bring this comment up in 2021 in a video. I promise. And I will. So again, the hope's got to stay alive. That's all that matters.
Man. Seems like people want it. Your video on the tail end of it started doing. I think it's at like 12,000 views or something like that.
Golden Sun, you know what I'm saying?
The Golden Sun video. So
Golden Sun.
people care.
And there it is. Yeah, 2021. It'll be a fun year. I anticipate good things or something.
Sure.
And then I made a video, or again, we both made videos, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, you made the video. I added to it.
There you go. But yeah, Game Award predictions, and already talked about cools, but Doom Eternal, and yeah, man, that'd be cool. Derek Bush said, as much as I would love Breath of the Wild 2 to be shown, I don't think it will be. Age of Calamity just came out, so I doubt they'll put those that close together.
I don't know about that. I think that they would. Yeah. I think that's exactly what they would want to do, especially during the 35th anniversary. But also, I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't see Breath of the Wild 2 this year, just because. I mean, next year because of the pandemic and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like maybe they planned for it to come out next year, but
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they planned for it to come out this year in the first. I mean, the 35th thing. If they had been planning for 35th anniversary stuff for this whole time, then no, they planned for 2021 the whole time.
Yeah, I think that like the only way I can see them planning for this year is if they also plan some sort of DLC, because I do think that they want to capitalize on the 35th anniversary.
Yeah, for sure. So with knowing that, then 2021 seems to be a year that makes sense from the beginning. But yeah, I think as far as it in relation to Age of Calamity, I mean, I guess I could see them not doing it because putting them that close together. But honestly, more so, I could see them being like, yeah, Age of Calamity came out. Everybody knows about that. People are sort of talking about it. I guess let's talk about Breath of the Wild.
Exactly. Everybody's thinking about the story and the lore is like fresh in everybody's mind. Let's bring out another Breath of the Wild game.
Yep. Somebody, I don't remember who, but it was one of our regulars, maybe Go Fish Goldfish, commented that they could do the same thing as like in 2018, they did like just a bunch of little Smash trailers as like commercials. They could do Age of Calamity trailers, like 2 or 3 of them throughout the night as commercials, and then do one that looks like an Age of Calamity at first trailer,
like
and then goes into Breath of the Wild too. And
that would be crazy.
It would be great.
Be wild.
Yeah. So that would be, because at first it'd be like, oh, why are you showing me Age of Calamity again? And then it's not.
It's true.
So that would be cool. So again, I think that was Go Fish Goldfish, but I could be wrong. So whoever commented that, you did it. Good job. You sticked in my memory.
10 out of 10. Not enough though. Be more sticky, I guess.
That's true. Danny Patak said, I hope they reveal something at least. Last year, Nintendo didn't have anything announced. I mean, first party. No More Heroes 3 and Bravely Default are third party. Personally, I would love a new IP. Yeah. I mean, they feel more like second party in the way that they're interacting with Nintendo, but still, yeah, technically third party.
It's just, I mean, technically first party, because
second party wise,
yeah, yes, because technically second party is not really a thing. Like first party, I mean, published games are handled like first party games, especially by Nintendo, because like Nintendo, it's very rare for them to just publish a game and not develop anything about any of it. You know, like. Bayonetta 3, right? Like that's a first party game through and through. Even though it's mostly developed by Platinum Games, Nintendo EPD is still working on it, you know? And that's going to be the case for probably less so No More Heroes 3, but definitely for Bravely Default 2.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely get the point as far as like, yeah, last year there were no like Nintendo
like Nintendo IP.
Right, exactly. But yeah, then they said, personally, I would love a new IP. Again, I don't know if this is the place I would expect that, but that would be legit.
Yeah. It depends on what it is, honestly. Yeah. Like,
I mean,
I think if it was like one of those things that we're talking about, like where like they need to fill certain holes of like the third person action game, like the Sony, every single game that they make sort of a game.
Honestly,
I can see them like here's a new IP that fills that hole, but I could sooner see them do that with an IP they already have. Yeah,
right. I would have a hard time, I think, seeing a trailer for a game like that and then seeing it's a Nintendo, like published by Nintendo or developed by Nintendo, and like wrapping my brain around those two things being in the same like box or whatever is weird to me. Like, I don't know if that's how people felt with Splatoon at first.
I think I agree with that, but mostly if it's new, like if it's a new IP. Like I can definitely see them announce a Star Fox game or a Metroid game
for sure.
that is that. And it sounds like from all the stuff that we're hearing and like all the job listings and stuff like that, they want Metroid Prime 4 to be that. But
somewhere between like, that and like Halo or whatever, like,
which is the same thing. Like Halo is like, was that sort of game before PlayStation really started doubling down on that. Where like the bulk of its appeal and like its prime was the like competitive end of it, like the MLG gamers and like people playing multiplayer Slayer and stuff like that. But like marketing wise, like Master Chief and the story with Cortana and all that, like what's going to happen with the Halo ring and blah blah blah. That is very much so like lore heavy, like story focused game that Nintendo doesn't really have. They're heavy on lore, not heavy on story.
If Metroid Prime 4,
Metroid Prime wants to be heavy on both.
Yeah. If Metroid Prime 4 doesn't win the Game Awards the year that it comes out, that'll be
it'll all be for naught.
Like, I mean, it depends on what other games come out around it, obviously, but
Breath of the Wild too.
That would be one of them is getting Mario Odyssey out of there. In that case, like, last comment from Crispy Water says, I really hope your idea on a new Star Fox game is true. I've loved the Star Fox franchise since I was a kid, yet I was always saddened by the lack of good games on it.
Yeah, it's another victim of like good lore. And they don't really do anything with it. Like it's more in the Pokemon camp than anything else, where it's like think of what this game could be versus what it is. And
the interesting thing with Star Fox specifically is that's one where I feel like they have tried a lot of ideas, kind of, but they just didn't really stick the landing on.
Well, they did for
a number of them.
Era, and that's it. They just did it on GameCube, and that's it.
DS, like,
like there's like Star Fox Command, but it's still kind of around the same thing of like you're not really playing this, like the game is still kind of playing itself, where it's like Star Fox Command is not you being the characters, it's you playing this like strategy game or whatever. Which is not taking the full advantage of like what that world could be.
Yeah, it would be cool for them to make a good Star Fox game. Not that I'm not a fan of like Star Fox 64 or whatever, but I know for some people that's a good game. So that's,
it's good. In the words of Bubble.
But yeah, good stuff. All right, that's it from our videos. Now we're on to Q&A, and we've got quite a lot of it. So
whoa.
Here we go. We got a bunch from YouTube community, so that's fun.
I was just looking at one of them.
You sure were. I know that you were. I'm checking Twitter just to make sure there weren't any last minute ones. Nope. So here we go. YouTube community. GBR47 says, seeing Age of Calamity running on the Switch, do you think they should have waited for a Switch Pro before releasing the game?
No,
I will say
I don't think
no.
most people would play it on a Switch Pro anyway.
Right. I think that's the thing is like,
as soon as it's available. So
either way, like it'll, whenever the Switch Pro or whatever happens, it'll run better on it for sure. And I haven't played it. I played the demo and I was fine with the performance. I don't know how it turns out in the rest of the game or anything.
I feel like most Warriors games have similar issues. Like those games just generally seem poorly optimized. And also there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people on the screen and all that crap, but like they generally seem poorly optimized.
I mean, to me, if there were any frame dips while I was playing it, it was like during the like big moments and explosions and stuff like that, which kind of like almost feel good where it's like, that's right. I made this happen.
Like
I slowed it down. Exactly. Where it's like,
it's like how
like
screen shake, like when you get hit in Smash Brothers, there's screen shake. It seems like it should it seems like it's
making it more
glitch,
dramatic,
but it's not.
So I mean that, but I think the big thing is
frame dips for sure, but but it doesn't have that effect.
I think as far as them waiting for a Switch Pro before releasing the game, they wouldn't make it exclusive regardless, and they still will want all of their games to run on both consoles. So that said, might as well, do it now.
Yeah.
Even
Also,
if
it just
it'll run
doesn't
better
seem like
later.
Nintendo's the type of company that does that. Like,
Right.
I wanted to make it more clear in my section of your video.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't think Nintendo, and I was talking to Cam about this a while ago before I made the every character
Mm-hmm.
deserves to be in Smash video. I don't think Nintendo plots out their characters like that, where it's like, well, we can make a lot of money if we put this character in the game. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo's like, well, we could hold this game until Switch Pro comes out. Like, I don't think they care about hardware in that way. I think that there's definitely times when they strategically hold certain games for different reasons, and it's usually in relation to other games, or windows in the year. But it doesn't really seem like they're like, we could release Switch Pro now, but Breath of the Wild 2 would look way better on a Switch Pro,
Right. Yeah. So there's that. Next question from John Enquist. This is the one we were laughing about because it's very long. But here it goes. PS5 question, but here it goes. Clearly, the online sales of the PS5 have been a nightmare. Scammers have been running bots like crazy and hoarding all the stock so they can sell it for a criminal markup. I was under the impression that as stock continued to be released, that scalping prices would go down, but I've only seen it increase. As of November 20th, prices jumped from $1,200 to $1,600 on eBay after Walmart's last drop. Given the consistency of the asking price of scalpers, as well as their ability to consistently claim the new supply as it comes online, I have to put on my tinfoil hat and question whether it's a bunch of individuals trying to make a buck, or if there's some message board somewhere directing these guys to not only consistently pick up the new stock, but also to keep their prices similar. Given the coordinated nature of this scalping, do you think Sony should step in and force eBay to delist PS5s? Sony clearly priced the console to be competitive with Xbox and is definitely taking a loss on the console with the hope of game sales making back their revenue. If all the PS5 stock is sitting in basements and not being used, you would think Sony would have an incentive to take action, but they haven't. Can you weigh in on this? Put the PS5 on store shelves and stop this stuff. Sony, we have a regulated economy for exactly this reason, and we shouldn't have to put up with this.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a coordinated thing. And that's like the reason why people like Bob are always talking about like use their tools against them. There's bots that you can use yourself to be like, oh, there's stock. Let me buy the thing, right? And in a lot of ways, I think that the problem will begin to solve itself when there is more stock, but there's not more stock. Like random one-off drops by Walmart at 3 a.m. or whatever is not indicative of more stock, like that's still very much so going to be limited, like flash in the pan. Oh shoot, we found more in a truck somewhere, let's list these. But once we get into the 2021 like mid-year sort of part of the situation, that's when the scalping will become less and less. I don't think it's going to happen now. It might not even happen at around that time because we're not in a normal time. you know, like normally, you will begin to see scalping happen less and less. But I think now the demand is so much higher to buy this thing now because people are sad and they want to buy things to distract themselves from the fact that the world sucks right now. So.
And as far as the Sony incentive to stop it, I think the thing is that Sony wants their numbers to be as high as possible. So they don't currently care whether those consoles are being fully bought up by scalpers or being fully bought up by individuals, as long as they're being fully bought up,
Yeah, because I mean, in a roundabout way, they probably care because it's like, if people are spending $1,200 to buy a PlayStation 4, that's more money that could go in our pocket, and it's going in their pocket. They could be using that to buy our $70 games.
I mean, but at this point, like, there's not enough $70 games for like somebody that they would still be like, well, I'll still buy the 2 games I was going to buy anyway, which sucks for the consumer so much.
But even that, like, I mean, there's definitely enough accessories and games for them to make that $1,200 at least $1,200 because then they can be like, oh, I'll buy the Pulse headphones and 2 controllers and Demon Souls and Spider-Man, and like in their head it's like, well, if they got $1,200 to spend and they're willing to spend it on PlayStation 5, why not spend it on PlayStation 5 and more games? But I do agree that they don't really care all that much because they can still say, well, we sold 10 million units in the first quarter, like.
And it's setting up that baseline of like people really care about this console
Right.
is more important to them in the short term.
Remember
for
that
the
time
long
we
term.
said people are going to mortgage their house? They're doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I mean that it sucks. We were talking just before we went on air about the people in the UK that are getting Amazon boxes that are somebody in warehouses or something like that is replacing the PS5s in boxes with George Foreman grills and cat litter and stuff like that. And it's lame that it's so hard to get it.
Yeah.
But,
it's a catch-22 because the only reason why they do it is because people care so much. And honestly, as somebody that has a next-gen console, don't care that much. It doesn't matter. It's not it's not worth it right now to even have one, let alone to spend $1,200-$1,600 on it, you know?
Right.
Like you
until
can
the games
definitely wait. Until the games start to come out and there's TVs that actually support their features, because right now there's like 2 HDMI 2.1 TVs, if that, you know, like
So John Enquist continues by saying, second question, since Will left the Wolf Den, I noticed that Bob's videos are not showing up in my subscriber box, and statistically his channel has slowed down in viewership and subscribers since Will's departure, despite an increase in vids uploaded to the channel. With this information in mind, do you think it's possible that Bob is a scrub? Do you think that his ankle-deep knowledge of video games outside of Sonic needs to be addressed? How many videos about controllers can one make before he has to actually use one to play a game to completion and talk about it?
Damn, that's messed up. First of all, Bob's doing fine. The problem is that Bob's trying to get a foothold in a new topic. Like if he was just making Nintendo videos and stuff like that, they would do great. And it would snowball and blah blah blah. But he wants to get a foothold in the Xbox Series X and freaking PlayStation 5. So that's what he's talking about. It's the same thing with us. Whenever we talk about freaking PlayStation 5, it does terribly, you know? You got to talk about what you talk about because that's what YouTube wants, you know? So it's more about that than anything in particular. Because, like, honestly, Bob's controller videos, as long as it's the Switch controller, do really, really well, especially in the long run. And even his PlayStation and Xbox videos do better than they seem like they will in the long run. Like he used to make Xbox videos and be like, man, this video didn't really do well. And then 3 months later, I'll look at it as 350,000 views. And it's like, yeah, when you dropped it, it had less views than you're used to, but in the long run, it did better. It's kind of like the freaking, what is that game called that you care
Golden
about?
Sun?
Golden Sun. The Golden Sun video, when you first released that, you're like, this video's not doing great. I'm like, it's the type of thing that people will come for in the long run. And that's what's likely going to happen with the videos that Bob's making now.
So there you go.
Also, Bob is a scrub. Trash.
Nathan Pratt said, Switch hardware revision, pros and cons. Are you worried about new games not being optimized for the 2017 model once a revision comes out?
No. I think Nintendo is going to support the hardware regardless, just like they did with literally every other console that they've released with revisions and stuff like that. Because, like, even though the only time that they did like pro model sort of thing was with the new 3DS, and they didn't really follow through with that. The only thing that like was just supported by that was like Super Nintendo games and
like Minecraft and
Minecraft, that too.
I mean,
but even that was just Nintendo.
Right. And the only reasons for those pretty much was just games that needed a
they
stick.
wouldn't have been possible anyway on the OG hardware. And I think that's the only things that we're going to see is games that weren't possible on the OG Switch hardware, but now are because of the Pro increased hardware specifications and whatnot. And
I mean,
if anything, we'll see like an increase in cloud gaming for those games.
Right. There's a chance that we'll see stuff where, like, I mean, like towards the end of the Xbox One generation, there were games that would run fine on the Xbox One X, and like on the original model of the Xbox are like, all right, they're on there, I guess, but like, you know, it's got a lot of issues or whatever. That could be something that happens towards the end where they shift all their focus to the newer one. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that I see that happening that much, and definitely not with first party.
Also,
stuff.
I don't think that that's really a thing that happens because they're not focusing on the older
Mm-hmm.
model. It's just because the older model is not powerful enough.
Right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like they're making games that they want to make generally, especially in the case of like Xbox and PlayStation, because most times they're targeting PC, they're not targeting the consoles. And then however the consoles are going to run the PC spec is how it's going to pan out, you know. Whereas like with Nintendo games specifically, they're just targeting their lowest common denominator, who has the most of this thing. Let's develop for that. And go from there. And then any benefits will be from the fact that the other consoles are just more powerful and they can, you know, they get more steady frame rates or a higher frame rate, you know, rather than like saying we're going to develop only 4K games now, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I feel like, well, you know, we'll see what happens, but yeah, there's probably going to be some games towards the end that'll look a little bit. That'll be better, especially if a lot of
there's going to be games from the very beginning that are going to be better on the Pro model. I don't think that it's going to stop any sort of development on the 2017 model, though.
Yeah, right. Cool. Asked lots of good questions. Said, what do you think has the best soundtrack among Switch exclusives? You can't say Smash because it has all the soundtracks made since Beethoven Touched the Piano, unless you prefer the songs made for Smash.
What is that game called?
Are you going to say Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Hell no.
What are you thinking? I'm wondering.
What is it called? Something higher. Cadence of Hyrule, that game.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one. I would say, I mean, y'all know me. I'd say probably Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Breath of the Wild, and Octopath Traveler are probably my top three. As far as like
Breath of the Wild's a weird case.
It is.
Because I don't think Breath of the Wild's music is good in the like, oh, this is a bop, you know?
Right.
But it's good contextually, like within the game.
I like how it used the soundtrack, within the game. And there's definitely some of the songs, like I'll listen to Terrytown all day long. Like I love the Terrytown theme. But yeah, for the most part, like there's a lot of things, like the Temple of Time theme from it, I think is one of the coolest things. And the first time I heard it, I was like, it's so cool because it's the Temple of Time theme, but it's like super sparse and you can barely tell. And it's just little notes in like cluster chords and stuff. But if I were just to listen to it, I don't really want to hear boom.
Yeah.
but like that's, you know. But I in 2018, I think my Spotify, you know, you get Spotify stats at the end of the year, Spotify Wrapped or whatever. The Octopath Traveler soundtrack, I think, was my top played of album of that year, just because it's got, I mean, it's got like 67 songs on it or whatever. So I listened to it twice through.
Cheat code.
It was like,
That's what a lot of artists are doing now. It's like, yo, I want to be on Billboard. I'm releasing an album with 37 songs.
That's what, was it Wolfpack? I think it was Wolfpack or Thundercat or something like that. Did an album that was just silence. It was like 12 songs or something that were just completely silent. And they said, yeah, just play it when you go to bed. And it's just silence. It's not doing anything. But this is what's going to get us on tour. And that was their first album. They had like tons of people play it. And it made them enough money for them to go on tour and launch like this whole career and stuff. And since then, Spotify has banned people from being able to do that. Because, you know, obviously it's kind of taking advantage of the system.
Yep.
Whatevs. But yeah, those are probably the ones that I would say. I like Octopath because it's got a lot of variety between the different things, but also like, I don't know, some of the themes are just like super pretty. It's really well orchestrated. I have a couple drum up videos that I'd like to do with Octopath songs, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is great just because I especially like the choral arrangements of different things that are in that are real pretty, but the fight songs are fun. So it has like good contrast of, you know, having really like pretty stuff that I would just turn on and just leave there, and then other stuff. Continuing on from Cool. Also, what's your favorite game across all consoles? Favorite game of all time across all consoles?
I mean, I guess Smash Ultimate, probably.
Breath of the Wild.
But I don't know. It always changes for me for different reasons. I don't know. for somebody that makes content where it's like that's the like those type of videos where it's like this is the best thing. I'm very bad at like thinking in my head like this for me is my favorite thing because I like a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons and at varying points depending on the time.
Well, I feel like the more you're able to analyze things, the harder it makes it too, because like I analyze my own thoughts all the time, which becomes problematic because I can talk myself into and out of corners in a bad way. But like, yeah, it's hard to, when I'll be like, yeah, Pokemon Blue, definitely Pokemon Blue. And then I'm like, no, that's only my favorite because it was the first game that was blah, 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 that kind of thing. If I could just have an emotional response to it and that's it, then that would be a lot easier.
Yeah, because I'm very bad at that. I am absolutely bad at the emotional response because I don't think about literally anything like that. Where it's like I like this one better because it made me happy. There's definitely games that make me happy, but I can still remove myself from that and be like, yeah, but it does that. Like Pokemon Yellow, I had so many great memories, but the game, not that great on the technical level. Like.
It's true. And then continuing on, what's your favorite exclusive of all time across all consoles and favorite third party?
Favorite exclusive across all consoles. Favorite Xbox exclusive probably Halo 3. Halo 3 or Gears 2. One of those two. For Xbox. For PlayStation, Spider-Man Miles Morales or the original Spider-Man, I guess. If we're talking about like PlayStation IP that are PlayStation characters, Sly Cooper, and then Nintendo, freaking Smash Brothers.
And I don't know. I don't even have answers for Xbox.
You don't even have
it's like, I mean, Spyro probably for PlayStation, even though that's changed now. But that was, And then
it was the exclusive at one point.
It was. So I don't know. I'm not good at answering this question because, I mean, pretty much it's either going to be Breath of the Wild or I'm just going to arbitrarily pick something else just for variety's sake. So there you go. And favorite third party, I'm going to stick to GameCube, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. It's a great game. I enjoy it a lot.
I don't even know what my favorite third party game is. Metal Gear Solid 5. Nice. Because the gameplay loop is dope. I don't give a crap about any of this stuff, like any of the Kojima, like his weird, crazy brain with the story. I don't give a crap about none of that. I just think the gameplay loop is fun. So probably that. Bloodborne. No, Bloodborne's first party.
Yeah, exclusive. Go Fish Goldfish asked or said, "Hey guys, hope you're both doing well. Thanks, man. Aliens have just stole your Switch in order to learn about human society. What do they learn from the games that would be available to them? Thanks again for everything you guys do."
My Switch is not easily available to me.
My Switch is easily available, and we're gonna take a journey and find out.
Can I reach my Switch from here without?
Everybody can see it now.
My Xbox. It's not. My Xbox is in the way.
I think they would think that still, from mine, that people are using swords all the time.
There's just so many swords.
So many swords. Like, of the games that are up here, we got Ni no Kuni has swords, Skyrim has swords, Diablo, Dragon's Dogma has swords, Stardew Valley technically has some swords, Smoke and Sacrifice I think has swords.
Why technically? There's just literally swords in Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I just meant that because it's not like the main gameplay mechanic, but yeah, it obviously does. I think they would... But also,
I
got
too much stuff on my desk. I can't access my Switch. I thought I was going to be able to because I just turned the TV on, but the controller's under all the Phogs stuff.
That's all right. Also, I love this question, by the way. I read it ahead of time and I was like, this is great. They would also think the world is very bright and colorful, I think, because most of these games, I mean, just, a lot of games in general are bright and colorful games.
True. Most of the games on my Switch are Nintendo first party stuff.
Yeah,
so they're just going to be like, man, people only play Nintendo games here. That's
saturation. I've posted a clip that you probably saw, of Final Fantasy 12, going from a cutscene of a character to the, in-engine
game. Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, and like the whole time it's kind of like that. A lot of it's just the epitome I feel like of the whole like realistic graphics sort of a thing, not aging super well, and like all of their faces look like they obviously made very good models, like anime CG models for them, and then just downscaled those to the point that they were able to put them in the game. And they're like, that's what we're going to use, instead of working the other way around and like creating something. I could be totally wrong with this, but instead of like creating something that just looks good in what it is, and then, you know, having it be sort of representative of what it looks like in general. But yeah, the in-game models for the main characters are a little bit rough. But, you know, what are you going to do? And so far it's pretty brown, but again,
yeah, that was
that's
a whole
of the era.
generation, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. It was like, you know what looks real? Brown and gray.
Abby's World asks, for a man who has never played any Pokemon games, do you think Pokemon Sword and Shield is more worth than the Let's Go games? Pretty much, which one is better for a first timer?
I think it depends on how new you are to games generally, honestly.
Agreed.
Like if you're big on RPGs, I would say just jump in the Pokemon Sword and Shield. But like if you're not really big on RPGs and you're more like a casual gamer in that sort of way where it's like, I'll play like, you know, like action adventure games and like Call of Duties and, you know, just like jump into games and you're not really big on RPGs, then go with Let's Go. But if you play a lot of RPGs, Pokemon Sword and Shield is fine.
Yeah. I mean, with Let's Go 2, I didn't think the catching mechanics were as annoying or anything as I thought they were going to be, but be aware that that's definitely going to be a thing. And if that's something that super turns you off, the whole, like, you know, throwing a ball at the TV pretty much, then don't play that one. But
or just play it in handheld mode.
That's true. How do you do it in handheld mode again? You just
move
press the cursor and press the button.
You just press the button.
I would agree with what you said. So there you go. This is Oscars asks, what's the best name for a playlist of lo-fi music? Do you mean a specific one, or like, are we coming up with one on the spot? Sly Cooper.
Yes.
I don't know. It sounds chill.
Frank.
For some reason. That's it. Frank. Everyone's going to be on Spotify and just know, oh, yeah, that's lo-fi for sure.
That's lo-fi fire. Lo-fire, dude.
There it is. The Superfan asks, what are your realistic goals for the channel by next year?
Just being consistent with our current format, maybe like flesh it out more in terms of like, you know, utilizing the fact that we're both working on the videos. Like we talked about it behind the scenes before, where it's like I can do more of the like flashy edits and stuff and like his videos and stuff like that. But yeah, just, you know, doing the thing, because at this point we're just at the mercy of the algorithm like everybody else. So it's just making the algorithm like our videos as much as the people that continue to watch them, you know, because like we know that there's like a good amount of people that come back to our channel day in and day out. So we know that they're good, you know. It's just getting the algorithm to understand that. So just stuff like that. And then as we grow, adding on to that. I don't really want to say stuff like I want to get to X amount of subscribers, because turns out subscribers don't really mean that much.
Right. And we don't have any amount of control on that anyway. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's fun to have goals, but yeah, still, that's not like achievable in the same way.
It's more so like the goals for us, I would say, are more view specific, like where it's like once we put a video up and it looks bad when we have X amount of views versus X amount of or Y amount of views, that's good, you know, instead of like once we have X amount of subscribers, you know, that doesn't really matter to me. Because there's been time the most money I've ever made on YouTube was when we had under 5,000 subscribers. You know, it really doesn't have anything to do with subscribers now.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, also, and then for the Directly to You channel, I think it would be nice to get over. We've got
I want for Directly to You. I want to get over 10,000, but I don't know if we'll do that next year. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, I think I have a specific goal for, because there's tangible things that we can do once it hits that. Right. But we're not really at that point with Fanatixfour, where we need to hit a number for us to be able to do more things.
Right. And there you go. The Spam Kid asks, is the world flat or a triangle?
It's a quadrilateral, dude.
I was going to say octagon, but yeah. Or what's it's a tesseract, probably, all things considered.
I don't know what that is.
That's I think that's one of those shapes that, like, well, it's something in the MCU, but also if you look up tesseract, it's like a cube that can't exist in real life, or it's not a cube, but it's a shape that can't exist in real life because it looks like it's like an optical illusion or whatever, where some shapes are going like doing something.
Like a Mobius strip?
Yeah, like that, but a different shape. Toxels X says LGBT rep in games? ?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you asking for one specifically?
I don't know. I was I'm not sure exactly the context of the question either, but
yes, more.
Yes.
Naming one specifically, I don't know.
Which, I mean, I guess is
Tracer is the first one that comes to mind.
Oh, really?
Mind,
I didn't even know.
Yeah. And people got super mad about it. They're like, "Oh, you just being liberals." I'm like, but yeah, no, that's the problem. Is that there aren't that many, so it's not super easy to like name one off the top of your head.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess Abby and Ellie, right, from Last of Us Part 2.
Oh yeah.
And 1, I guess.
True.
I think. True. I don't know. I haven't played it.
I don't even know if Abby's. I don't think Abby's LGBT.
Oh,
Ellie
I thought for some. Oh, I thought they were a couple for some reason.
No. They hate each other, dude.
Oh, okay, fun. Well, there you go.
They hate each other, dude.
Is Ellie the one in the first game? Then
yeah, Ellie's in the first game, and we found out
Abby's the new
DLC,
character.
Yep, she's the one that.
Okay.
She did some stuff, and Ellie's
spoilers
like,
stuff.
Man, I gotta take her out. I'm like,
interesting. That's the game of the year right there, is what that is.
Yeah, game of the year.
All right, moving on. Questions from Twitter. Bianca asks, have you played the Mario and Luigi RPGs? I saw a couple of them on sale and wondered if they're worth checking out since I love DS era sprites and JRPGs.
Yes, if you like the classic Paper Mario formula and stuff like that, that's where it went. And those games, like they're good games.
Yeah, I never played them, but yeah, sounds like what AJ said is what AJ said. So there you go. Now questions from Discord. Squitch Jones said, in your opinion, what is the better next gen console?
The Xbox Series X. I think the only thing that tentatively I think I like more about PS5 is the controller, because it's like the closest thing to what I like about Nintendo, you know, that they tried something different, and that's neat. But overall, I think that the Xbox Series X is just a better value, and it's like for the reason why you would buy, especially now, a next gen console is because like you want the most graphics you could possibly get, dude. You want all the frames and whatnot, and like it just seems like just on paper through early tests and stuff like that, the Xbox is just the way to go overall.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it. You know. Again, opinion being that I think some are better for some people and some are better for the other people. But for me, it would be Xbox Series X of the two for the reasons that you just said. But yeah, again, like I like the idea of the DualSense and like Astro's Playroom and those kinds of things. And like, you know, using new things like the Joy-Con do, but, you know, maybe better or something.
Joy-Con do is my favorite video game company.
So yeah, there you go. Duncan said, yo, 100% unrelated to games, but how does AJ feel about the new M1 Apple Silicon Max coming so soon after he upgraded and absolutely shredding in performance? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I thought you were
the other one is food related, so I'm gonna wait.
Right. I'm indifferent because like I already resigned to either double dipping or selling and or trading this one in and getting Apple Silicon Mac once it's equivalent in the vertical of their business that this computer occupies. Like relatively, the computers are more like efficient and like if they were at that price point or at, that form factor and stuff like that, they would destroy the computer that I have. But in actual like quantitative performance, my computer is still significantly more powerful than those, and there's not as many like compatibility issues and blah 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 blah. But like I said, maybe when they release like the full end like 16-inch MacBook Pros, I'll double dip and buy that. Or if they release the iMacs earlier than that, maybe I'll swap this one and like get either, again, like I said, sell it and then buy a new M1 or M2 probably, or M1X, for like the pro level of the Apple Silicon with the more RAM and all that crap. Basically, I knew this was going to happen. It seemed like they were going to start with, and not in a bad way. Like that's why I pulled the trigger, because I knew that they were like, okay, it very much so seems like they're going to transition with their low end, and I don't want their low end, and I need a computer ASAP. So I'll just pull the trigger now, and then maybe double dip if it feels necessary. Yeah. But just given the timing, it's probably going to be a while. I'll probably get one at the end of their 2-year transition, because by then everybody's going to be transitioned over, Once I know it's like, oh yeah, Streamlabs works great on M1 Max, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do it. Cause I know like Final Cut's going to run a lot better, but Photoshop and, all the other stuff that I use that's not Apple specific. I'd rather wait for that to not be an issue to upgrade again.
Yep. Indeed. And now we've got 2 Fanatics Foods questions to close us out for the day.
Oh, shoot.
And for both of y'all, which is better and in festive spirit, shortbread or gingerbread? Hashtag Fanatics Foods.
I'm gonna say shortbread. I think gingerbread, is a very like mood sort of thing. But shortbread, I can just, I can eat that anytime, dude. And not like in a like freaking pumpkin spice only available, blah blah. But like,
right, yeah.
In the sort of way where it's like, oh, there's shortbread cookies here, I'll eat one of those. But gingerbread, I gotta be in the mood for that, dude. I'm not just like freaking chomping down.
If it was between the 2 of those specifically, shortbread. If it's like expanded to like ginger snap cookies or something, ginger snap cookies 100%. But gingerbread specifically is less, I cared less about it, There's some, ginger snap cookies are the ones. It's like the grandma cookies with the little.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're so good,
But I like shortbread. But I think
shortbread is good though. Yeah, but it's more across the plate.
Diverse.
It is.
You could do more with shortbread cookies.
This is very true. I think it's also a texture thing. Like, oftentimes gingerbread is more boring. Shortbread again because you can do more
work. And like they're hard AF.
Yeah. Oh well. So when I say ginger snaps too, I'm thinking it's like soft cookies.
Okay.
It's that have. I'm just gonna pull a picture of the thing that I'm thinking. Ginger snaps. We'll see if it pulls up. There's a horror movie called Ginger Snap Cookies. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Everybody's going to see the ginger snaps are the things.
Nice.
Okay. So not, because there are like 2 things called ginger snaps. These ones up here are not what I'm talking about. Okay. The like so thick or like the crunchy ones.
Super hard.
Yeah. I'm talking about these kinds of guys. That's like it's like there's molasses inside or something like that makes them like just soft, where it's very doughy, but very good. But they got the little crinkles and stuff. They're great.
Nice.
That's like
nice. Okay,
classic Christmas
better
cookie.
Than the other ones. I don't like the other ones. I mean, the other ones are fine. Again, that's like hyper specific mood for that sort of situation.
And the last question, Mega Man asks, "What cheese is the lord of all the cheeses?"
Gouda.
Fanatixfour. Fanatics Foods, I'm gonna say. Gouda's good. I got a little like Gouda when I was in Belgium was like the cheddar or like the American cheese or whatever of
like what's on everything.
Yeah, it was like the thing that was on my lunch sandwiches every day. So I got like just, I'm not sick of it, but just like it became normal to me or something like that. Whereas like now I go back, I'm like, oh yeah, Gouda's so good. Yeah.
That's true.
But that said, I would probably say like an aged Gruyere is the tops, That's what I'm saying. Like Tome or something. That's one too, I think. I don't know, an Emmental is good. That's it. We did it. We finished all things.
There's too much cheese.
There is. And like, I love cheese fondue, and Ashley is not a huge fan of cheese fondue because it's literally just bread and cheese.
You know who doesn't like cheese? Will doesn't like cheese. Everybody makes fun of him on Twitter.
I will.
And he likes pizza. How do you like pizza and not like cheese? Will's dumb.
I hope that the next event, even though he's not like actively doing, Wolf Den stuff, I hope.
Yo, I swear, if he doesn't come to the freaking Too Many Games 2033, I'm gonna be pissed.
Make me cheese.
And I already told him that. I was like, if this means you're not coming to PAX and Too Many Games, I'm gonna be upset. It was fine when the baby was coming. That made sense. But now you got no excuses, dude.
But that's it. That's all we got, y'all. We'll see you later.
It's true. Like, comment, subscribe, rate on podcast services. Tell your friends. Subscribe to both channels. Follow on Twitter.
There it is.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Eat cheese. Goodbye.
Bye.